Hello humans, I am Very Lisa and today I have for you a speed build which is called Bungalow in Teralfene, and this is based on a vintage home plan that was posted on the vintage home plan Tumblr, vintagehomeplans.tumblr.com, that I will post the link in the video description below, so if you're interested you can have a look. And I think this was originally published in 1962. It's from a book by Kurt Hoffmann called Neue Einfamilienhäuser, which I guess means new single-family houses. That's my terrible German, I'm sorry, by Kurt Hoffmann. And it has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom and an open plan living area, also a separate kitchen with a walk-in pantry area, a separate pantry area. And I have cut out a fair bit of the video showing how I put all these chunks of house together, because I really did struggle getting the size of the houses and the layout to match that in the plan. So you can see I've jumped there from starting layout to dropping a lot of furniture in, and I really had to get a lot of sort of placeholder furniture items in there just so I could work out, okay, this needs to be big enough to hold a stove, and that's the rough layout of the kitchen, and the fridge is supposed to go in there, and here's where the bath goes, and that sort of helped me size the rooms. But it's not a quick process, so I've just shown you a few snippets from the process of building out the house and getting the size right. And I think that speaks to this is not a standard design. This is a really original design, and I suspect it looks to me like it was really designed with a specific family in mind. I quite like this little bit here with the detailing on the stone wall, and it's got, I think it looks like indents on the original photograph, but I didn't have a way to do indents, so I've got these little square coat hooks that I was able to reposition. There's a fireplace in the middle there, and I had a little bit of trouble with the chimney. I do put it on the roof where it's supposed to go, and then later on when I put a sort of sloping roof on to simulate the sloping roof of the building, the chimney moves down into the living room and I forget about it until right at the very end. But if you do decide to, you might notice it in some of the screenshots, but if you download this from the gallery, I have fixed that. So the chimney is no longer stuck in the middle of the living room. It is actually on the roof where it belongs. Yeah, and this is available, or it will be available if it's not already, on the gallery under my username of Very Lisa. And I'll also give it the hashtag Vintage Home Plans, like I have with my other Vintage Home Plan build. The original design here was built on a sloping site and is actually a split level, so the side with the bedrooms and the bathroom is actually, I think, a few stairs up the slope, but we can't do that here in Sims 4. We don't have that ability to slope the terrain in that way, so I've just made it a flat build, and I've put a sloping roof on it to try to indicate, well, this is approximately the slope that it would have if it was actually built on a slope, but it's not. I found the windows were quite interesting too. I could have just gone ahead and left the standard windows as they were, but I started to get really finicky about trying to match the windows up, and that's just a no-win situation, because even though there are lots of great window choices in The Sims, the variety of window choices in the actual real world is far, far wider, and when you start looking at vintage window choices, well, you're never going to get a match. So I've stuck with getting windows of a vaguely similar size and shape in the vaguely correct places, but apart from that I haven't worried too much about it. And I am discovering with these smaller house plans and these vintage plans where it's broken up into a lot of smaller rooms rather than having everything thrown together into one big space, more like a modern house, it can get a little tricky with rooms like this kitchen where there's a lot in it, but it's only a 3 wide by 5 long space. So getting the camera to really show you what's going on can be a bit tricky, and the best view can be from the top down. But it's a very workable kitchen, I think, and I think in reality this would be a very easy and comfortable kitchen to use. I like it a lot. I quite like that combination of the green, the sort of vibrant green with the grey, and I actually changed the wall colours in a bit to something that I like even better. So even though it's hard to see as I'm building it, it turns out to be quite a good kitchen, I think, and I quite like the double sink. I love that little separate pantry area. I'm sorry about that dong, that's my Bluetooth speaker. That separate pantry area with the doorway into the main kitchen. So you've got your, I love having a store cupboard. Having the door go out from the pantry onto the backyard, I'm not too sure about how I feel about that. Maybe if this was like a laundry, which we don't have, but if it was, that could be interesting. It took me a while to get a feel for the colour scheme that I was using, and those bright green kitchen cabinets went some way. And then this desk and the table and the two-seater started to push me a little bit more towards sort of warm browns and greys and greens. So it becomes kind of a, I guess, a foresty feel, like a cool temperate forest, not a tropical forest. And I like that little plant in the corner there that's the bright green. I'm like, no, that's too tropical. Get that out. We had to go with the more muted or the calmer greens rather than the vibrant greens. And it's got black floors, black tile floors, and the original description actually published in the book said, what has it got? Black terrazzo tile flooring in the living room and light grey linoleum in the bedroom. I did not go for the light grey linoleum, but I did go for a grey carpet. And we can't get a black terrazzo tile, but there is a black rumbled tile, like a ceramic tile, so I thought that's close enough. I would love terrazzo tiles myself one day. It's one of my favourite finishes. That look of all the little bits of stone tumbled up into the one sort of, what do you call it, an aggregate surface or something, and then polished back to show the stones. I think that's really pretty. On the plan, it shows there's a table with 6 chairs around it here, and I could not decide if I was getting my sizing wrong or if the plan just showed the chairs sitting a lot closer together than you might have them in The Sims. So I ended up just putting a 4 chairs around that table there. I thought that was fine. And then working out how to decorate it and getting a little stuck on various options. I really like those hanging curtains. I haven't used them anywhere yet, but I liked even more, starting to get into this foresty feel, those birch twigs, which in reality I think they would be terrible, terrible dust collectors and difficult to clean. But in The Sims, nothing ever gets dusty. So it's no problem to have them there behind your table to give you a bit of that. You're in the forest while you're outside. Oh, sorry, out in the forest while you're inside. So the design of this house has a little sort of entrance hallway with a table and chairs there, and I thought that was a strange place to have your table and chairs, especially because those windows on the original plan are quite small, or they're even more like glass bricks in the original rather than real windows that you can look out of. But I went for it anyway, and when I play tested it later on, the Sims seemed to love sitting in that little nook by the doorway. I don't know why. All my welcome wagon Sims came by and had a good chat there and ate their fruitcake. So I guess that's a nice place for them to sit, and that bright green rug kind of makes it feel very welcoming, I think, with the warm wooden walls and that yellow lampshade. I think this would be a house where you would feel comfortable, where you'd come in and you'd just take your shoes off, and like a place, almost like a place you might go on holiday. Like maybe a family might have this cabin up in the woods, and they go to visit their friends and they stay with them. It just feels sort of warm and cozy, even with tile floors, which sometimes I think our tiles wouldn't be that cozy to sit on, but here they seem to work. I have put some rugs down, but not all rugs. There's still a bit of the tile showing. And I guess the people who own this house or live in this house, I feel like they like old things. They've got a real vintage feel to the stuff they have. Like, they don't need the latest, shiniest, newest things, and they're not really into antiques either. They're more like, if something is well made, if it's doing its job, if it's comfortable, if it's theirs. It's a very kind of eclectic feel of mixing up stuff that is strong, sturdy, wears well, and feels like comfortable and natural. So there's a lot of natural finishes. Not very plasticky, this house, I think. There would not be a lot of plastic in it. More metals and glass and ceramics and wood. I spent a fair bit of time fiddling with these lights to get a bit of a lighting effect. I wanted it to be, when I first put them in there, I thought they looked nice, but they were just too bright for a bedroom. So I remembered that you can actually change the colour and intensity of lights, so I gave that a go. And I ended up doing the same in the bathroom later on. And then once I'd got that in there and it was all very elegant and nice, I went a bit crazy in this master bedroom with artwork. So there's art all everywhere, all over the walls by the end of it. And it has this massive walk-in closet too, the master bedroom, which is basically the same size as the kitchen on the plan. So I guess that's what they felt was appropriate for this house, the designers. Maybe it's not even so much the walk-in closet for the master bedroom as this is the storage for the whole house. You have to go through the master bedroom to get there. But the rest of the house, the kitchen's got a fair bit of storage in it, but apart from that, if you want to store things, you put them in the master bedroom. There is one other bedroom, which I've designed as a kind of a teenager room. So I'm still putting artwork all around the walls here, and it's a sort of dream of mine. In reality, I would find it too much work, but I do love a room that's kind of covered with framed pictures, all arranged all over the place, and all different styles and at different heights. And it feels like a really kind of rich space to me when it's got all of that artwork in it. This room I'm working on now, I made into a room probably for a couple of older kids, maybe teenagers. But it's not a real funky teenager room. It's more of a natural or comfortable room. Again, they've got the old technology, so they've got the old computers. What am I doing now? I'm fixing up that walk-in wardrobe and making it into a storage space. So half of it is the wardrobes, and half of it is like a big storage shelves where they keep all the other stuff in the house that they don't want to put anywhere else. I did put some shades up on the windows, but not all of them. So I decided the kids in this room would have these like wall features that I think have a bit of light in them, and one each one, because they do share a room. And again, that makes me feel it's a bit more of a holiday house type of environment rather than the place they live full time. Not that there's any problem with kids sharing rooms, but they don't really have a lot of storage space for their stuff, and those shelves up there don't have a lot of stuff on them. So it's more like when you come for the weekend or for the holidays, you put all your stuff up on those shelves, and probably when the kids are actually in residence, it's massively messy. And then the idea here is that their parents let them go a little bit crazy and do what they liked. So they did that big mural. One of them's a bit of an artist, and they stuck posters up all over that wall. Because this family is more about doing what you feel like, or expressing your true self rather than conforming to what's expected of you, or making the house good for resale value. So yeah, I normally personally, in my personal reality, I love bright colours, and I love strong sort of dramatic design, but this house just felt more subdued, more natural and comfortable than my own personal style would normally indicate. And I think I'd really like to stay in a place like this. I think it would be pretty refreshing, pretty comfortable. It's got quite simple curtains on it. I'm going to say that all the windows are double glazed. I feel like this is in a cold climate, this particular house. So all those, lots of windows there, they would all have to be double glazed, and those walls would have to be nicely insulated. Oh my goodness, I'm a little bit worried I didn't fix the wallpaper in the hallway. I'll go back and do that if I need to. I'll check it and re-upload if it was done incorrectly. Because I did use, I think a shiplap or something like that, wood for the internal walls, most of the internal walls, and then I changed it to this sort of matchstick thing that came with Spa Day. I liked the warm grey of it. And the bathroom now is fairly simple. And again, I adjusted the brightness of those lights. You could possibly clutter that bathroom up a little bit more, I don't know, but my feeling was that they'd like to put everything under the cupboards rather than have it all out on display. And then I realised that the kitchen was a little bit too dark, so I put some more lights under the overhead counters in the kitchen, so that you're very, very clean and clear when you're working there, but it's not glary from the top. So I quite like that there's no harsh overhead lights. It's all kind of subtle, or lights that aren't too in your face, I suppose. I added a little bit of pots outside. Now, I have cut out a fair bit of the landscaping work that I did on this house. Oh, I love that snail sculpture. I felt like this is like the slow house. This is the place where nobody's in a rush, because of that sort of holiday or retreat or sanctuary feeling to it. That the snail is quite a good mascot for that. That you just want to relax and get back to nature and be who you really are. In your home, which is the snail home, perhaps you could call it. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with the landscaping. I put in a lot of kind of conifer or evergreen or pine trees, and a few outdoor areas, but I don't know if I really like them or if there's a quick way, like when you want to place a lot of rocks down, do you have to use the eyedropper and drop each rock manually and then rotate it manually and then like nudge it manually, or I wish there was some quick way to drop down all of my rocks at once and then shove them around at once, like really quickly, but maybe there is. I don't know what it is. And I started to put a lot of rocks in around the front there, and then I went, oh, this is too hard. Anyway, let's have a look at the screenshots. This is some pictures of the outside of the house to start with. And I think even though I don't love the landscaping, I quite like it. There's a little area off the main bedroom where you can sit outside. And this is the back of the house, where I doubt they'd go out there very often, so those window boxes are more to show a bit of colour through the windows. There are some planters there that I got my test sim to put some plants in. So if you download it, there'll be some plants growing there. There's a little outdoor eating area and grill off the main living area. So there's plenty of places to sit down and have something to eat in this house. And that's the little area as you just come in the front door where all of the visitors really wanted to hang. And here's a view of the main living area. Note the gnome on the mantelpiece. I really like to put gnomes in my houses. So that's the gnome guardian of the galaxy, I think. The main dining area. So there's 3 areas where they can sit down to eat. Or actually, if you count the or both the outdoors. So there's a kitchen. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. Kitchen with the walk-in pantry, and the fridge is in the walk-in pantry, and that's a nice view coming out of the walk-in pantry into the kitchen. And then here's showing down the hallway with the dining area on the right and the kitchen on the left. So here is the kids' bedroom or the bunk room, with all the crazy art on one wall and the comfy places to sleep. A view of the bathroom, and another view of the bathroom. There's a towel rail over the door. And then here's the master bedroom with the crazy art all over the walls and a few books on the floor. I do love a wide variety of art, and the storage and wardrobe area for the house. And here's a view of the house at night. So I hope you like this. If you want to leave me a comment saying what you liked or what you would have done differently, or if you use it, let me know. That would be so cool. You could like this video if you want. That makes a big difference to me. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you later.